Hello again, all you wonderful cats and kittens. As usual, this is Becca going by Nightcat or Nightcat's Meow Win Online, and welcome back for another week dealing with Linden scripting language. I think I found the problem with that annoying buzz from the background from my mic, so only recording the full video will tell us for sure. But fingers crossed. Toes, tails. Anyway, um, continuing on from where we left off last week, I'm going to expand our little device up here for displaying text letter by letter. I'm going to add several more pieces to it. I'm not going to make it too long just to keep it from getting too cumbersome for demonstration purposes, but the overall process would be the same no matter how many pieces you add. So, let's go ahead and get on with that. First thing, we'd have to actually disconnect this part from the original. Space it out about the same. This up here is still our root. So the next thing we want is to make sure what the proper links are for everything. So each of those are set with a touch start. 7, 6 on 2, 7, 6 on 3, on 4, and on 5. All displayed right there. So we'll pop in here. Alright, so as we set it up before to go along with based on where in the text string something is, an easy way to do that is to just continue on down. So 2, 3, 4. And refer back up here, 3, 4, and 5. And these three, 4, 5. Actually, an easier way probably to do this is changing all of those to I is because if I equals 0, we're comparing point 0 or item 0 in the text string. If I equaled 1, you were comparing letter 1 in the text string to letter 2, so on and so forth. Going ahead and using that so that this is just I means that there's less things to change if you're copying this along, which is especially important if you have a very large message board, something with, say, 100 possible characters. It's very easy to just go through and do that because I equals 0, you're looking at the first item in the first letter in the text string, a computer starts that list at 0. Humans usually think 1, computers start at 0, and then continues on down the chain. A lot of lower prim message boards probably have a special mesh that has multiple faces set on it, because you can fit a lot of faces onto a mesh and still have a very low prim weight or prim equivalency. Mesh is weird. So if you're doing a whole lot of possible characters, that will cut down the number of things you have to change. The fewer things you have to change, the more things you have automated in a very simple way like this, the harder it is for an error to slip through that you have to go through and find. So that's an important thing to try to do. So the next thing, we're going to just run a simple test where we expand this here. And there. That should do it. Oops, small problem with that at the end. So the period here, if letter equaled period prim face. So we're going to next look for the period command. Period command. That's the problem right there. There we go. So that's how easy it is to expand this to a larger thing. Now, what you want to be able to do next is to have it receive its text command from different places. You want anything to be able to send a message to this that will dictate what it's going to say. So the way to get something to read, to get a message from an external source, is either you have to have a listen where something will talk to it, or if you have a database function, which will either read something from the net or from a note card. The easiest one to program is going to be the listen. State entry. Listen. We're going to set this on channel 10. Get owner. My apologies. We should actually have a thing there. This would be where you dictate what says something. This is where you dictate who says it, or what it's allowed to listen to. And this follows, as usual, the same ordering is up there. Integer for channel, string for what, key for who, string for message, which we left blank because we want it to be able to listen to literally any string of text we want. We're only restricting it has to come from the person that owns the object. So, reader, message. /10. Test. there we go. It still has the touch start, which changes it back. But what happens? /10. Absolutely nothing happened. /10. What do? It didn't register the H. The first thing we can fix there is that it didn't understand anything in lowercase. So, message equals no, there's 2 lowercase. Am I remembering this wrong? Two upper. That's what I didn't remember correctly. There we go. So that fixed one of those. The reason that happened is because when we set this up to recognize the different letters, we only programmed it to understand capital letters. And here was the problem. I accidentally left another G in the place where the H was. Also, a thing I did wrong in here. I made this very quickly. These all should be else if. That is a bad thing on my part. That was lazy coding on my part. The reason why you want to have all of these be else if is a time saver. If you really need to optimize the code, you would then go through and reorganize these based on how the frequency a given letter is used in regular text. Because what happens is the if it goes through as these does letter equal whatever the letter is. For the beginning of my name, that would be R for Rebecca. And it goes through and says, is it A? No. Is it B? No. Is it C? No. All the way down till it gets to R, where it's like, is it R? Yes. And if I had else if, it stops. It would stop checking right there. With them just being if, it just kept on going and says, yay, we found R. But is R an S? No. Is R a T? No. Here, it stops at that one. If you wanted to make this as optimized as possible, if very snappy response time were necessary, another thing you would do is go through each of these. The research is already out there online somewhere, and would find which letters come up most frequently. In fact, it comes up right there. Most commonly used letters. There it is. Believed to be the 12 most common letters in the English language. So you could look that up, letter frequency, whatever else you want to look up, in order to optimize that as thoroughly as possible. There, that added the 1. The reason it doesn't replace the C is because I never programmed it to understand a space. We can go ahead and fix that particular oversight relatively easily. How do we do that? Pop in here. and just find as much space between letters as you can. That's 0.467. That's not a true space, but it will do for now because I wasn't thinking of a space when I put the texture together. You really want to get a better texture. I threw mine together very quickly in a peak of significant frustration because of dealing with having to completely reset everything in my computer. That was most definitely not a fun thing. It is space back up here. Four, six, seven. There. That actually lights it up with this. We have added GetOwnerReturn. What this simple line does right here is it finds out the key of whoever owns the object that's speaking, because you get the key for the object that's speaking here, and then this gets the key of the person who owns the object, and sees if that is the same person that owns the object this script is in. If it's not, it returns. It just kicks out. It stops processing anything. Otherwise, it runs the rest of this. Now, we're going to create this little object here, source, say, -10, what now? It is saying on -10, -10. So we see if I wrote that wrong. There it is. That was the problem. I named the object just a little bit different than I did in the code. So, what you would do is you're running a DJ board, you're running a tip jar, and you want to call out the person that just made a donation, you want to put whatever announcement you want, you take whatever its output is and make it speak that output on the channel that you designate, and make sure that you designate the object name, and it can broadcast information to your board. So that's how you make it actually useful for announcements. You can, whatever it is you need to connect it to. If you need it to read from a note card, I have previous tutorials that talk about reading basic information from a note card. I think I do. I'll go back and double check. Um, if I don't find one, I will make one. Those of you that follow this more regularly, if I'm forgetting and I didn't actually make one, let me know. I'll make sure to do it. So, as I said, if you're running a DJ thing, then how you would get it to output information about the music that's playing would vary depending on your system. So, and I don't really play with those much. A lot of them are streaming audio directly through the net. So you'd have to be able to set up a code that would read something from that website and it would feed through as long as it speaks it out on the correct channel from an object with the correct name, and you own both objects. If you're not able to own both objects, what you do is you set this here to be the key of whatever person owns the object you need to have it listen to. So, profile, key, or actually an easier way for it for you all, edit, general, owner, profile. That way you don't have to even have the person there to find out what key to have it listen to. Just plug that in there. I don't know how I accidentally got an R added into that. And it will go ahead and respond to it. So, that's how you can get this to set up to receive, to have much longer messages. That same process I showed you works no matter how far you need to expand it. As long as you can plug in the link number and the face numbers. So you can have a whole bunch of meshes with different faces on them laid out in a grid to make a more prim efficient version of this, and it will still work. You'll want to have a letter line that is a little more comprehensive with spaces and a few other things than the quick and dirty one I threw together. But it's good enough to learn from, which was the whole point. So you'll put that in there. It will take care of that right out. If you need to have it listen to a different object, as long as you know what channel it will output something on, and the owner of the object, you can set it to listen to that. Whatever you need for your particular environment, those are the key factors. If it outputs a phrase with a specific bit of text in it that you want to display, you just have to know its channel and its owner, and you can configure this to deal with that. So, that is it, I guess, for this week. I've got a couple of specific questions about placement of objects and about vehicles and the basic way you should set up to work on scripting. So I'll go ahead and cover that next week. And until then, as usual, good day, good luck, happy coding, and thank you again to my regulars who are posting in the comments. I cannot emphasize enough how appreciative I am to you all, especially after the week I lost for computer trouble and the audio trouble I've had for a couple weeks since. It's, I know not only does everybody on YouTube say they have, great communities or the best communities, And everybody says that, everybody else says it. I don't care. You all are the best. We're a small group, but it's a good group. It's Y'all really make me happy to be doing this for y'all. So thanks again for the support. Thank you again for the comments, the occasional questions on the Discord, everything else. It means the world. Especially when I'm having not such good days and suddenly I see a new comment crop up. It really, it means the world. So thank you again, all of you. You are amazing. So I will keep doing this for you all. Y'all keep letting me know that what is working for you. If there's something that's not working that I can do better, let me know that too. You know, and we're going to make this. It's a small channel. It's a very niche channel, but I think we got a good thing going here. And I hope when I think that LSL coaching has run its course and I move on to other programming languages, I hope some of y'all stick with me. So, again, until next week, this is Nightcat, the Coder Kitty. Good day, good luck, happy coding.